working in the loft to do the flooring in the bedroom, the master, or what will become the master. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start on this side of the wall. I don't know how much we're going to accomplish today, but I'm at least going to get it started. That way when we come down on Sunday, we can hopefully finish it up and have floor in our bedroom, and stop tracking dust around the house. So that's kind of the goal. So it's been about an hour, and I've got a total of 4 rows completed. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm having to run downstairs, down to the basement, grab the flooring, upstairs, up to the loft, back down to the porch to cut everything. So it's a little bit slow going, but it's finally stopped wiggling around on me. So it's a little bit easier to show you what I'm going to do. So first of all, you want to stagger your flooring, and you want to leave a gap on the edges. I am sticking another floorboard in the back just to make sure that there's a gap there for expansion. When I put up the new trim boards, you will not see the edges of the flooring, but it will allow for expansion and contraction. Based on our floor directions, you want at least 10 inches from one edge of the board to the next edge of the board. And I guess that's just so that when you walk on it, it doesn't weaken in the areas where the boards are really close together. And so this kind of levels out the pressure on the boards when you're walking on them. And so there are 2 edges of the flooring, and it's really confusing online because some of them call it the male end. The male end is short, which to me is a little counterintuitive. And then there's this other edge that has a little lip. So one has a lip on the upside and the other has a lip on the downside. And when you flip it over, you can see what I mean. See, there's that lip right there. We are on a basement, so we don't need subfloor or a vapor barrier. And then in addition, we are currently in the loft, and so we don't need a vapor barrier. This flooring, as you can see, actually has a layer of foam on it. And so that's already integrated into the boards, which is really nice because you don't have to deal with any kind of covering on the flooring at all. So what I'm going to do here is, this is the short end right here, and this is the long end with the lip on the top, and this has the lip on the bottom. I'm going to kind of wedge this in there as best I can. Let's see. I'm going to wedge this in there best I can. I'm at the end of my rows and I need to make some cuts for the boards that will fit the space. I will need the board to have a lip on one end, and it does not need to have a lip along the other because it's going to be up along this board here. So if we look right over this board, looks like we're just over 16.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is flip this around, measure from the correct side of the board, and make a mark at 16.5-ish inches. Again, I told you that my husband and I were not really good at precisions. So the fact that I can install hardwood or laminate flooring should be an indication to you that it's not that difficult. Okay, that was one board. Now we need to measure the space here for board number 2. Alright, should have been wearing eye protection. So we're going to take the boards that I cut and the longer end pieces that fell off into the discharge pile. We're going to take those back upstairs and finish the job. It's time to go home. Have an hour and a half drive, and I would like to be home for dinner. Thankfully, I thought in advance, and I have some red beans and rice in the Instant Pot. I wish I had like one more hour because look, I'm so freaking close. So I have about 6 easy rows, which means just those are already cut, just junk all the way down, and then cut the ones on the end. And then I have one kind of tricky row where I'm going to have to measure that little bit all the way down the line. And that's just trickier just because I don't have a table saw, and so I'm having to cut along the full length of the floorboard on a circular saw, and it's just a little more tricky. But literally this should take like about an hour and a half more, and I just simply do not have time for it tonight. But I'm super thrilled with the progress that I made. I will show you, by the way, my tools. So other than flooring, you will absolutely need knee pads. You'll need this pull bar. So that's for really tight areas where you don't have enough room to use the spare pieces of flooring to hit the boards into place. If you hit the boards directly with the hammer, you will damage the boards, and then you'll end up doing more work than you really need to. So that pull bar is for tight spaces. You will need a measuring tape. You will absolutely need a Sharpie. You will need the rubber mallet, and then this is that same tapping block They sell all of these things at Home Depot or your other box store. But the other thing that you'll need, obviously, is some kind of saw. And a Dremel is what I have found, because in those tight spaces, so along that row, obviously you won't be able to slide this little lip underneath. So what you do is you Dremel off or sand off the lip, and then you glue it, and then you stick it in there, and the glue dries, and then it forms the bond. That's the only way that you can get those pieces in and have it look nice along the edge. So there are about 800 million different YouTube channel or videos about installing floors. They have a bunch of different tips on how to measure things and all of that, but honestly, the way that worked the best for me is just the measuring tape. So one last look at the country before I clean up the circular saw. Isn't it just so gorgeous? I don't know why people put fake outhouses. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be reminded that people used to pee in the woods. But evidently that's on our to-do list to get rid of. So, but yeah, so next time we come down, I think what we're going to probably do is, obviously we're going to take an hour and a half and finish the floor upstairs, and then we will, maybe we'll do the floor in the front room, and then we'll be like frickin' done. But I'm assuming that there's going to be painting happening in the kitchen. We obviously need to touch up around the countertops. Don't they look so good? And this whole room needs a second coat. So that's what we'll probably be doing on Sunday when we come down. So either painting or flooring, kind of depends on what my husband's mood is. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been rainy, and we had a little bit of a hard start, but we were nonetheless productive, and I feel pretty good about today. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. See you later.